The reason so many people lose in the real estate market overall, they will in NFTs, they do in collectibles and many other things, is they want money fast and they do short-term behavior and they don't thoughtfully think long-term. Right? They overextend themselves, game over. That's how I think about emotional intelligence. If you play in a way where every relationship appreciates you, and do you understand what I'm talking about when I talk about strength? I'm actually not, I love this subject because I want to get deeper into it. Of course it's easy to be nice to someone who's nice to you. I'm talking about the other shit. I'm not, like everyone's like, yeah, I'm nice. I'm like, but what about last Thursday when you wanted to punch Patty in the face? Well, she was a bitch. I'm like, fuck you. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Not when shit's easy, when shit's hard. Everybody in this room has likely had someone get cute and not pay you for some shit. What do you do then? How do you have the strength emotionally to be the bigger person? Do you waste your energy on envy and jealousy or talking shit about that person? Or are you on the offense and just moving on? This is money talk. This isn't grandma's nice talk. This is money talk. And that's the nuance that I'm trying to bring to the forefront of the conversation. I am going to make uncomfortable levels of money on the foundation of kindness. When I dissect what's going on with me and how it's happening, it is grounded in patience. It is grounded in empathy. It is grounded in compassion. It is grounded in that stuff. People are like, Gary, this is all wrong. I'm nice and people walk all over me. I'm like, let's break it down, Becky. Like, tell me how you're nice. Now let me tell you about the conversations when I broke down the people that tell me they get walked all over and that's why you can't be nice. Let me make it real simple for everybody. Here's what's actually happening. It's one of two things. One, they're actually trying to manipulate people. This whole conversation of I get walked all over, no. You tried to give somebody some shit that they didn't even want because you wanted something from them. Garyvee, see you're coming to Dallas. Let me give you a ride to the hotel to save you some money on the car. Translation, hey dude, I want to pitch you shit for 35 minutes while I get you to the hotel. That happens every day. People out here trying to act kind, they're using it as manipulation. Like, don't give me shit I don't want. And then ask immediately after. That's not kind, that's manipulation. That's number one. Or number two, you're kind, but you're scared to negotiate. You're insecure, and it has nothing to do with you being kind. You're getting walked all over because you're unhappy that somebody's negotiating in business. You just genuinely wish you could get more for it. You could have said no. We lack accountability. I had this talk the other day. I'm like, but I had to sell it for 40. I was like, but you said yes. You could have told Harold to go fuck himself. You said yes. Nobody walked all over you. You folded because it was a good deal for you, or you needed to move it. I'm fascinated by what's going on in the world. We've gotten into such a funny place for a million different reasons. And I just want people to lock in on themselves and realize how much opportunity you have. What does it take from an emotional intelligence standpoint to actually be successful? I think the concept of soft skills has been really fascinating to me. That when we talk about empathy or kindness or patience, we consider them soft skills. And I truly believe that they're the actual hard skills of business. That knowing how to write up a contract or use Excel or like run the math is actually quite easy. What I think is very hard is when another human being is incredibly disrespectful to your face and having the intestinal fortitude to be the bigger person in that moment for what you're trying to accomplish. And I think it's time that we really start having this conversation in the business world. That, how many people here have employees? Raise your hand. Raise it high. Thank you. So for example, for all the people that just raised their hand, something I've been thinking a lot about lately is the concept of, does anybody here actually have the explanation to why it is ever appropriate for a boss to scream and yell at somebody in a negative way in front of other people? Yeah, we're all like, no, never. But it happens every fucking day. And I've been fascinated by it because I'm like, wow, like for a long time, the context of doing business has been used as an excuse framework for just bad behavior and comma. And here's the most interesting part. I'm stunned by how many people are confused that fear is a better motivator than love. I'm fascinated by that. You know, the hypothesis of my new book and how I wrote it, and really what I think about, and really COVID gave me the opportunity to really finally put on paper what's been on the tip of my tongue, what's always been in my stomach, what's been back here, but I got it out there, is I'm trying to build the biggest empire in the world. I want to be the single most successful entrepreneur of all time, financially. Like the points, the money. I have no concern about saying that, but I'm stunned by the fact that people feel that you have to compromise your values to be successful. I remember when Steve Jobs got wildly popular in Silicon Valley, and I would be at conferences and I would talk about how I was so marveled by his incredible innovation skills, but I didn't love the way the narrative was being painted about how he treated employees. And it was like, I was watching kids, young kids who were starting apps and companies genuinely almost think it was cool to be tough on their people. Not that they were so bad, but they thought like this was gonna motivate them. And I was very affected by it. And I think that it's really led to a place where, for me, as my profile and the attention on me has grown, that I feel incredibly compelled to have the conversation of my management style. It's why I had to go vulnerable, which is not my favorite move with this book, because in 12 and a half, I talk about my half being candor. Garyvee on stage and in content is a beast when it comes to candor. It's my strength. Gary Vaynerchuk as an operator was really bad at it. I actually just genuinely didn't like the feeling of delivering bad news, telling someone they weren't good at what they did. I didn't value money enough, so I'd be willing to keep people around. I tried 100 different ways to fix it without telling them that they stink. And then what would ultimately happen is I would get resentment. I would hold on for deal light for 3 years, and then finally on a random Tuesday, surprise the shit out of them and fire them. Which is the complete scenario of why anybody who's ever worked for me does not like me, in a world where that shouldn't be the case based on who I am and how I value money. And I had to go through that in my late 30s and early 40s, even probably early 40s and recently. And what has transpired, once I kind of tricked myself, I almost Garyvee'd myself and basically put the word kind in front of candor. And I've managed that way for the last 2 years. And for anybody, and I saw a lot of you with your body language who have that shortcoming, it has been staggering how effective kind candor has been for me and has been foundational in the growth of VaynerX and VaynerMedia over the last 24 months. Other people, candor comes very natural. The problem is they deliver it like a dick face. And that's never gonna work. You know, genuinely making someone not feel good, genuinely scaring someone is a losing formula. You can more than easily use it in the short term to capture some cash. I promise you, you will leave money on the table deploying that format. To me, there are a ton of people who booed me along the way, who didn't want to see me succeed, this and that. There's a great story, I wish Brandon was here from Wine Library. There's a great story of a wine supplier who shit on me so heavy and did such the wrong thing, did the wrong thing about my business. I said this once before, did something terrible to me, did the wrong thing by Wine Library, undermined me as a human being with straight lies. I went to an event in New York City where I went to go taste his wine, and he fucking said, get the fuck out of here, you're a piece of shit, you're the worst thing with the wine business. And then when Wine Library TV blew up, he sent me an email, acted as if none of that had ever happened, and asked to be on the show for exposure for his brand, and I said yes.
Wow. Why?
Because being the bigger person's always right. Dude, negative, he knew, and I know. As long as everyone knows the score, then like, you don't need to impose it. Holding that negativity is stopping you from what you actually want to happen.